A lot to get to here on today's show, and we appreciate all of you for being a part of it. You're watching Philadelphia 76ers Now. I'm Chase Sr. NBA trade deadline coming up on February 9th, and a couple of Sixers could be on the move. How about Furkan Korkmaz? We'll start there on that front. NBA Insider saying that Korkmaz, who's barely playing for Philadelphia, the most likely Sixer to be traded. And for teams that value shooting out there, prior to last year, he had signed that 3-year, $15 million contract, so he's due about $5 million per year. So for another team that does need some shooting and maybe a little bit of ball handling, Furkan Korkmaz could be a decent trade asset because right now he's giving the Sixers team nothing. Could be nice to have Isaiah Joe right now, right? Well, the Sixers kept Korkmaz over Isaiah Joe, and now Joe's been balling, who we'll talk about on today's show, and Korkmaz is barely playing. So this coming from Jake Fischer on a more day-to-day level of things we actually think will happen. I think the Sixers will be looking to move on the margins of things with a guy like Furkan Korkmaz hardly playing right now for this team, inconsistent in his usage off the bench, on the hook for another $5+ million next year. Definitely been a name I've heard rival teams speculate as someone to be looked to move. If there is a way to trim it, get a $4 million player back or so for Furkan, that was something that a cap-leaning person suggested to me. And I think that Furkan Korkmaz is what he is at this point. 2 years ago, prior to signing that contract, especially against the Hawks in that second-round series and during that playoff run, even during that season, Korkmaz played pretty well. And he was able to knock down some threes to give the Sixers team some value. But when he's not doing that, and he's been bad shooting the basketball the last 2 years, what is his value? And that's why he's getting a lot of DNPs and barely seeing any burn. This year, 4 points per game, 39% from the field. When that's your specialty, that's not good enough. And most importantly, 32.5% from downtown on only 1.7 3-point attempts per night. So because the minutes are down, that's why the points per game are down. But the points per game, minutes, the shooting numbers, they're all down because Korkmaz hasn't proven to be a consistent force who can come in, night out, find twine from deep, spread the floor, and give this team the value that they once projected he could have. Not sure there is much value to be had for Korkmaz on this roster. So if you trade him somewhere else and you get somebody who can give you 10+ minutes per game and he gets an opportunity elsewhere, maybe a change of scenery helps him for this process legend. As for Matisse Thybulle, really the same can be said. He does have something special that he does. Korkmaz doesn't do anything special if he's not hitting threes. For Matisse Thybulle, last year he was second team all defense, and his stock, it has plummeted. Has not found his way consistently into the Sixers rotation this year. I find it a little bit weird because there are some nights I watch this team and opposing wings just carve this team up, and you think to yourself, man, Thybulle would be nice in this spot because his length, athleticism, quickness, defensive acumen, him just being a pest, it could slow down a Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler, other type of wing player. But when you can't provide anything, and I mean anything offensively, and you can't put the ball on the floor, you can't shoot the basketball, that's why Matisse Thybulle isn't getting much run, and that's why in the playoffs last year, he was pretty much played off the floor as teams treated him basically like Ben Simmons from the three-point line. Hey, you want to hang out there? We're basically going to go 5-on-4 because we have no faith that you're actually going to rise up and hit a clutch bucket. If he could shoot, he would have so much more value and be a very special player in this league. But no signs indicate and point to the fact that Thybulle is going to become a better shooter. This is what Bleacher Report had to say about the Matisse Thybulle rumors. Once considered one of the 76ers' better young players in trade assets, Thybulle barely hanging on to a rotation spot this year. The arrival of DeAnthony Melton, who provides similar defensive value while also being able to shoot, has probably made Thybulle expendable. Some other team in need of perimeter defense might be willing to take a flyer on him, though. Still 25 years old, wreaks havoc on defense at least 3 positions. If he's surrounded by enough shooting and playmaking, there might still be positive impact player there. There's still plenty of time for him to become an average shooter, too. And there is. I'm not saying that Matisse Thybulle isn't going to develop. But can he develop on a Sixers team that's ready to win a championship? And can he be a part of this rotation, considering that he can't shoot the basketball at all? He has extraordinary defensive value, and I'd love to see it work out. But the guy continues to work on his three-point shot, and the results continue to not be there. And it's unfortunate because he's a good personality, does something incredibly unique as one of the top wing defenders in the league since coming into the league, all defensive team twice. That's pretty cool, but you got to be able to add something offensively to the Sixers team. So if you had to pick one to trade, you're on the shoes of Daryl Morey here. Who are you trading? K for Furkan Korkmaz, T for Matisse Thybulle. Kind of a tricky question here. I think Thybulle has more value because he has that special trait. Let us know down below in the comment section. Now, do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans don't. They think they spend about $80 per month on subscriptions when the actual total cost is closer to $200 or more. You could be wasting, folks, hundreds of dollars each month on subscriptions you don't even know about. And this app, Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, has changed my life and allowed me to save a lot of money. Easy to use as well. Shows you all of your subscriptions in one place. Cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged. And to cancel one, all you have to do is press cancel. Rocket Money takes care of the rest. So head to rocketmoney.com/NBA now. We'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video to start saving money today. I previewed a little bit earlier that we were going to talk about Isaiah Joe. Do you think the Sixers have regrets of just outright releasing him? Like, they didn't even get any value back. And I had been saying on the show, Isaiah Joe can shoot. Isaiah Joe has that clean stroke from the outside. He just needs an opportunity. Never got that opportunity with Philadelphia because Doc Rivers refused to play him. And now he's gone to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And while the points per game isn't crazy, look at the shooting numbers. And he's had a couple of huge games this year for OKC in some winning efforts. There was a play, last night I believe, where he threw down this hammer dunk that was just crazy. 48% from the floor, 44.5% from three. The Sixers are a team that could certainly use his three-point shooting on about 4 attempts per game. And when you look at the bench, that's where the Sixers could really use Isaiah Joe, just as a floor spacer. And going back to that Matisse Thybulle point, like D'Anthony Melton has made a guy like Matisse Thybulle expendable because he can create, put the ball on the floor, he can shoot a little bit and play defense. And when he starts coming in off the bench, that's when that Sixers depth gets even better. But they had Melton and Isaiah Joe on their roster, and they could have had both of them on this roster coming in a reserve role. Now, Doc Rivers did say he still speaks with with Isaiah Joe. Very much a tongue twister there. We still talk all the time, Doc said. I text back and forth a lot with him. Very happy with him. He's gotten a lot more playing time. One of the things he'll tell you, I was brutally honest with him in a good way about don't choose anywhere that you can't play. You have to go somewhere where you can play now. You deserve to play. You were caught in numbers on our team with all these guys in front of you. I'm so happy for him. It's still up and down and stuff like that. I texted him a couple of times when he didn't do what he should be doing, which is kind of funny. Tampering? Nah, who cares? I'm just playing. But this is why Doc Rivers is respected by a lot of players. He does maintain that level of communication with a lot of his players over time. And look, we could talk about the lack of adjustments. We could talk about the playoff choke jobs, no doubt. But Doc Rivers does at the very least, have good relationships with a lot of his players. So do you agree with the regrets about letting Isaiah Joe? Why am I tripping up on this at the end of the show? I don't know. Who knows? R for regret, N for no regrets. Let us know down in the comment section. Updated look at the Eastern Conference standings after the Sixers struggled to start the year. They're starting to climb up in the Eastern Conference standings a little bit. They've been really good over the last couple of weeks. They've won 10 straight games at home. Of course, nobody's going to care about that unless they can win a big home game in the NBA playoffs. But the East is wide open. The East is a conference of parity. Shoot, the Brooklyn Nets are in second place. And the Sixers, fifth place, first-round series. I know the Cavs have been balling out this year, and Donovan Mitchell had that 71 piece. Kind of corny, by the way. He brought out the piece of paper with 71 like Wilt Chamberlain did. Like, dude, you were 29 points away from Wilt if that was in fact real. Conspiracy theory. No, I do believe it was real, balling out in Hershey. But the conference is up for grabs, and I'd like the Sixers in that first round, if the season were to end today, 4-5, to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. Bring me those young guns at a raucous Wells Fargo Center. Come playoff time. Will they crack, or will they rise up to the occasion? Can't wait for the playoffs. Hopefully the Sixers continue to ball out and Joel Embiid stays healthy. Do you think the Sixers are contenders or pretenders? C for contenders, P for pretenders. Let us know. Thanks for watching the show, and don't you forget to subscribe.